everyone. So kind of a crazy week coming up because Thanksgiving is this week at the time of this recording. I'm actually not recording this on Sunday like I normally do. I'm recording this Monday night. So this is going to be like just a shorter video in general this week, and it just kind of is what it is. It's a holiday season. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel of fat acceptance and see who we end up on. Oh, all right. We're starting the Jock Scientist, so let's go. All right. So I had to move this. Unfortunately, the screen's going to be a little weird for you guys. I'm actually going to have to stop this. Screen ratio is going to change, but just stay with me. All right. Shouldn't have been any big notice for you guys. For some reason, TikTok requires you to log in when you're on Firefox right now, but not on Chrome. So we're on Chrome. And we're going to take a look at the Jock Scientist, who has been mentioned to me several times. So we shall see how this works out. You know the drill. We're going to go back about a year in the past. So we're going to start on November 1st. It's November 20th at the time of this recording, but we're going to start on November 1st of 2022 and work our way forward. We will be ignoring these pinned ones because they'll probably come up at some point. If they don't, then I might look at the pinned ones. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that yet. I think this looks like it says she's a Libra and then rainbows meaning either gay or an ally. Um, exercise physiologist, the anti-Jillian Michaels, free joyful movement tools. We might take a look at those because I'm genuinely curious what that is and what she means. So I'm scrolling down. I'm not gonna make you guys watch me scroll all the way back a year. Um, so I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so I actually didn't have to scroll as far back as I thought. Um, we still have plenty of content to cover. It's just not like insane like some of the other creators. She has a rather moderate posting schedule. It seems to be like 2, 3 times a week or something like that. So well, actually probably less. Probably less. Well, maybe 2, 3 times a week. Anyway, this is the from November 2nd. It's our first one for the month of November in 2022. So we're just gonna go with it, and I will respond as we go through.
Why are you lying? Why are you lying? There's no way you believe this. There's no way that anybody with like two brain cells to rub together would actually believe that the beauty standards for men are more unattainable than women's.
And just so you guys have the full context, the comment reads, maybe because beauty standards for men are much more unattainable than women's.
And it's not the part where it's like, well, no, beauty standards are harder for women. Like, that's just point blank fact. It's also that you motherfuckers made the rules, including for you. Y'all made the rules. You made the game. How do you lose at your own game? The hyper masculine thing, like the really muscular and strong and tall and tons of body hair and superhero physique, that shit was made by y'all. Have you seen some of the weirdos that women go after? Have you heard of a dad bod? That's all female gaze stuff. The male gaze, that's the one who created all of these unattainable standards. Get mad at men. Be so for real. Why are you lying?
So here's the thing. I'm coming at this from a cis woman's perspective. So in my opinion, I do think that beauty standards for women are far more unattainable than they are for men, but I have not lived a man's existence. But in general, like the thing that's even if you were to put standards side by side, I personally don't think like at most I think maybe men's standards are as unattainable as women's at most. Again, I don't it's not something I've really paid attention to, so I don't know what kind of pressure guys have the same way. But I don't really like there's just so much expected of women with the eternal youth look, the skinny waist, big boobs, big ass, on point hair. There's been so many guys that are like, I prefer girls with no makeup, but then when they actually see them with no makeup, they don't know what no makeup means. They mean natural makeup. Men aren't exactly expected to wear makeup, and when men age, they can develop a level of ruggedness or something that is becoming of them, where that's not the way it's viewed for women. I kind of wish she would do more of a breakdown of that because I can't say I 100% like disagree with her on this. Um, I do feel like there should be some context of experience here because some people feel it more than others, and I do have um sympathy for short men because from what I understand, like they're not treated very kindly often. But this whole that was created by y'all. That was it's like I really don't like the painting with a whole brush such a wide scope of people. Like the entire half the population. You guys like let's let's be for real. Like I don't like comparing it to race, but that's the thing that I feel like is most relevant in this situation. But like I'm white and I don't like it when people say, this was created by white people, therefore this was created by you and pointing specifically at me. There's there's such a thing where yes, people of my race have done terrible things, but I don't feel like that the responsibility for those things falls on me as a person. And I don't really like doing that in the opposite realm of some men have created these unattainable beauty standards for women. So this would, and by extension, some for men as well. And so this is your fault as a man. Like I don't, it's unproductive conversation. I guess is the best way I can put it. It's completely and 100% unproductive. I think that I'm not even sure this comment was worth responding to, but if she did want to respond to it, I would have preferred her to do a breakdown of the ideal beauty expectations, the ideal beauty standards for women versus men, break it down and explain why no, in fact, women's beauty standards are much higher or much more unattainable or whatever. At the very least, if the person that was commenting on this felt differently or she missed a point, like a further conversation could be had there. It's kind of falls in line though with that this was a few years ago, but I remember it like populating a lot of spaces of what's more painful, getting kicked in the balls or childbirth. And to a certain extent, I'm just like you can't really compare them because as far as I know, no one's had to deal with both. As far as I know. It's one of those things where it's like I don't know if it can really be compared because they're just different, you know?
Has accused the company of glorifying child obesity.
It just simply is wrong.
The horror of it all. Fat people might be represented in media. I'm going to use y'all's lingo for a second, okay? Everyone that campaigns that weight loss is the only way to pursue health loves to reference that obesity rates have continued to climb, especially in children. And what have we continued to tell people for the past several decades about their body size? I'll answer it for you, that they have to lose weight. And what has continued to happen? Those obesity rates continue to climb. It's almost like maybe we should try a different approach. Something like encouraging people to participate in health-promoting activities and not associating a body size with it. Especially when you learn children are 200 times more likely to develop an eating disorder than diabetes. Dance is something that brings me a lot of joy. I did dance for a long time in my childhood until my parents ripped me out of it because my large body size embarrassed them. That is what's wrong.
Has accused the company of glorifying child.
So, on the one hand, I would just like her argument's really interesting here. First, we want to get the the plus size ballerina out of the way. I have zero problem with it. I think, especially in children's media, I think showing little girls who are struggling with their weight, given that children really, again, I'm gonna say this until I'm blue in the face. Any child under the age of, at an absolute minimum, 12, under the age of 12, their weight issue is not a result of any choices that child has made because they have a parent that is responsible for the food that's brought into the house, the meals that are prepared, and the food the child has access to. So that always is placed on the parent in that situation. And furthermore, I was a chubby kid. Like, looking back on some of my pictures, I wasn't nearly as fat as I thought I was, but I was very much felt like the fat kid in every class. And seeing a larger girl as a ballerina probably would have helped boost my confidence a little bit. So I really don't have a problem with the representation of large, large girls doing traditionally feminine activities. I don't have a problem with it in the slightest, and I don't think others should have a problem. It's the one thing where I'm like, I don't think that it's promoting obesity because the child doesn't have any real control over what they're eating to begin with. You know? Doesn't mean that, and it does encourage movement. It's like you may be big, but you can still, and if the kids really get into ballerina, or to not ballerina, ballet, um, they'll the added activity and stuff may help them lose weight anyway. But onto her main point in her argument about talking about how obesity rates have continued to climb and yet we still offer the same advice of losing weight, and the prevalence of type 2 diabetes and all that. But she doesn't. What's interesting is that she doesn't say that losing weight isn't the answer. She's just commenting on a different approach. I thought that was interesting. I thought it was interesting how she doesn't say, that doesn't work at preventing. She's saying we keep giving the same advice and nothing's changing, so maybe we should try a different approach. I just found that really interesting. So, because she's not even really arguing, she's saying don't associate the advice with a certain body size or whatever, but she's not saying necessarily that the advice is wrong inherently. She's just saying maybe don't make it a label for like there's more, it seems to be more of a point about the presentation of the medical advice rather than the medical advice itself. Did I read that completely wrong? Am I wrong? That's how I read that. That's how I probably have to cover this with some YouTube sound, but just so you guys know, the captions say real fitness professionals wouldn't promote body positivity because it encourages a healthy lifestyle. And then part of the song that she is using to it says I'm me because I think the song said I'm me because I'm from New England, but this one says I'm me because I think using body size as a health indicator is a sign you're a lazy trainer. I disagree with that, but I don't think that body positivity, when taken at its direct root, without all the fat acceptance bullshit around it, without all of the campaigns and the marketing and shit, I don't think body positivity or body neutrality is a bad thing inherently. I don't think that there's any problem with learning to love yourself at the size you are and then use that new comfortable space to work towards bettering yourself in terms of fitness, health, and yes, weight loss. I don't think that that's an issue. I just think that the message has been skewed where body positivity means that you are 100% perfect exactly as you are. Now, that message works 100% for victims of accidents or people who were born without limbs or people who suffered burns or whatever. Yes, you should be body positive and love yourself exactly as you are, 100%. But when it comes to like changeable things, when it comes to weight, when it comes to caring for yourself, that's body positivity can be a groundwork for bettering yourself. That's the thing, is that it's like when it's something unchangeable, yes, you should just learn to you if be best for you to accept it and love yourself as you are. If you can reach that point, body neutrality. I'm more of an advocate for body neutrality personally because that would work better for me. But body positivity is fine too in that sense. Body positivity though so far is in the way of like let's just take this kind of same logic to the nth degree, and it is taking it to a little bit of an absurdist level. But just walk with me because I think the overall point still stands. But let's say there's someone who eats like shit, stays up really late, their sleep schedule is a mess, they don't take care of their mental health at all, so they're prone to fits of rage and bouts of um just sobbing. Not necessarily full like and let's be clear, this isn't mental illness level, this is just uncontrolled emotions just completely left unchecked. They don't bathe, they don't brush their hair, they don't brush their teeth, they don't do anything to care for themselves, and they find the body positivity movement as it's taken with notions kind of like fat acceptance where you don't have to do anything and in fact you can keep doing the things that are actively harming you. And they parade around saying people should find them uh, beautiful and accept them the way they are. Meanwhile, they smell really bad. I don't know if you guys have ever smelled what someone can smell like when they haven't bathed in a month. Um, I had a family member who went through a period like that, and not to shame them, but the smell is something else. And it gets into the house and it gets into like the couch cushions and that sort of thing. And it's really just permeates everywhere and it's unpleasant. Now, rather now the general talk like this is that you should just love yourself as you are, but that doesn't help them in this circumstance. That doesn't do anything for them. They just are going to continue to get cavities, get massive knots in their hair, reek unbelievably so. Their skin's going to break out. They're going to have all sorts of skin issues. They are going to be weak and fat and unhappy and uncomfortable to be around because of their random outbursts of uncontrolled emotions whenever anything slightly upsets them because they refuse to learn any coping skills at all. But that's not body positivity to me. If they, however, found body positivity and was like, I love myself enough to change, and they brushed their teeth and they got some coping mechanisms for their anger or their sadness to kind of help them through it so they didn't have these big humongous outbursts. They bathed, they brushed their teeth and took care of any cavities, just all of the things. They exercise, they maintained a regular sleep schedule, consistent sleep schedule to get enough rest. That's the body positivity. That is the self-love. Self-love is taking care of yourself, not conditioning yourself to just be okay with what you're doing that's harming you. But that's my perspective.
Remember that time I showed up with just panties under my coat?
So it's just her showing off an outfit with the caption, using my small fat privilege to thrift for size M and L shirts for a tight cropped look since all the XL and XXLs are being used for oversized looks. Here's the thing though. If you like the tight look, I'm gonna put this back. If you like it hugging closer to you and that works for you, by all means, by all means, go for it. I am not one that particularly likes showing my full shape. Every once in a while, I'll wear like a belt with a dress to kind of emphasize my waist, but that's about the extent of it. I tend to like clothes that drift away from the body. I just don't like my clothes clinging to me. I never have. I've never really liked it. I've always preferred oversized, not for an aesthetic, but for comfort. And that's my goddamn right. If I'm seeing it and I see an XL or an XXL, for fuck's sake, I'm right now, my sleep shirt. My pants are an extra large that are way too big for me. Uh, and my shirt is a Gildon 3XL that I cut the neck out of, so it's slightly off the shoulder, that I also tie-dyed. And you know why? Because I like my pajamas to feel like I'm wearing a blanket. Like it's an extra blanket. Because that's comfortable for me. I have had better night's sleep wearing the pajamas that I do in as loose a fashion as I can. I like it to feel like an extra blanket. I've been taking a sewing class and I just finished making my first ever pair of pajama pants. I've never sewn a pair of pajama pants before, but I just finished it. And when the ladies kept talking, they're like, "Oh, but this is really baggy," and I had to stress, I like it insanely baggy. I like it baggy than is reasonable, more so than is reasonable for most people. And it's not an aesthetic; it is purely comfort. And I'm allowed to do that. Like, if that's how you want to wear your clothes and that's what you want to buy, that's fine. But if someone wants oversized for any reason, uh, that's their right. Like, yeah. Some people do it for an aesthetic, and I'm sorry you don't like that. But a lot of us wear oversized stuff simply because it's more comfortable. It also tends to be a bit warmer because there's extra cloth. And it's fucking cold right now. It doesn't get above 40 right now. I'm freezing. I want a bigger sweater, a bigger hoodie, a bigger sweatshirt, bigger pants, bigger sweats. I want everything. I want everything big. It's winter. I'm cold. Leave me alone.
Y'all really are obsessed with me.
Oh, interesting. Point of view, you searched your own username to see entire YouTube videos dedicated to how much someone beefs with you. And I'm curious, are these all the same? No, these are different people. Oh, and they have Idle Aim. Idle Aim, you were found on YouTube by the Jock Scientist, and then Sam at Every Size and the Cynical Dude. Everyone I recognize. Oh, that's cool. Honey, they don't have like major beefs with you. You just put out like out there takes and people will respond to it. Like you tend to be a bit condescending, so that's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way, and they just respond. And I mean, none of these are like Sam at Every Size video is 25 minutes, but none of these are even like the lengths that I typically do on people. Like God forbid she finds this video. God forbid she finds series is gonna be she's gonna think I'm obsessed with her.
You know, we actually kind of agree with each other. I don't think it should be called a paradox either. But not because I don't understand what the word paradox means, because I don't think it applies. The obesity paradox as a concept has been around for so long that newer scientific articles are questioning whether or not we should be calling this a lean paradox instead. Their justification being that those leaner BMI categories that are just blanket associated with all things health don't actually have the best health outcomes in all situations. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think you realize that the obesity paradox has thousands of peer-reviewed articles on it and an entire fucking book. The issue has never been normalizing obesity. The issue has been stigmatizing obesity so heavily that people are being discriminated against in the medical community. People with beautiful lab work and otherwise healthy markers being told they're unhealthy by their practitioners because they happen to fall into a category based on a scale that was developed by an astronomer using only the bodies of white men literally centuries ago. And what ends up happening is you don't encourage health or healthy habits, you encourage weight loss. Droves of people being willing to starve themselves, over-exercise, try a new diet every month, try new diet pills, go under the knife just to get the same treatment that their thin counterparts do. But somehow that's supposed to be healthier than just existing in the bigger body and continuing those habits that got you those healthy markers in lab work in the first place. How about let's...
Okay, this shifted. I'm sorry to cut her off for the last few seconds, but there was a distinct shift in the argument. First, I need to refamiliarize myself with the obesity paradox specifically. So one sec. All right, so this is just the obesity paradox. It was from 2010. I'm mostly just looking for a definition, and this one has one right in the abstract, so that's what I'm looking at. But the term obesity paradox refers to the observation that although obesity is a major risk factor in the development of cardiovascular and peripheral vascular disease, when acute cardiovascular decompensation occurs, for example, a myocardial infarction or congestive heart failure, obese patients may have a survival benefit. In addition, it has been suggested that obese patients tend to fare better with certain surgical procedures such as coronary artery bypass surgery. Moreover, it appears that obese men with chronic hypertensive heart disease live longer than men of normal weight. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so this one, it seems like the obesity paradox is primarily centered around heart health, and we're just gonna put that aside because my big issue here is the argument changing. The argument changed because she said, it shouldn't be called the obesity paradox, it should be called the lean paradox or whatever. I'm not even going to jump into that for this video because this is going to be a short video. I'm sure she'll refer to this in the future, in which case, starting next video, I'm going to have all my university's library with my credentials authenticated and all that shit before I key up another round of her TikToks. But my issue here is that she changes it. She changes because this is talking about the ability to recover from and survive surgery or heart events. But she changes it to overall health, and then keys it into the BMI as the BMIs they're told they're unhealthy because of the BMI. Obesity has more risk factors than just heart. It has more risk factors around, and furthermore, the obesity paradox only refers insofar as surviving like congestive heart failure or myocardial infarction, but it does not cover the risk of getting like hypertension and those things in the first place. In which case, yes, being obese, just because, and I think there's been a lot of studies about the obesity paradox. I'll have to key up some of those things for the next video. I'm already over time for what I wanted to put in for the video on this week. This is all about surviving heart events or surgeries, not about increased risk factors for even dealing with any of that shit to begin with. Being at what still stands, and you can talk about the research around the obesity paradox all you want. The obesity paradox is defined by the ability to survive certain surgical or heart events, and survive better than counterparts. But we're gonna just put that aside real quick because that still involves you needing those surgeries, you having those heart conditions to begin with, which are increased by your obesity. That is why doctors still tell you to lose weight. And not only that, but with diabetes, with hypertension, with high cholesterol, all these other things. Fatty liver disease, I think, is like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, I think, is also a risk when you're like morbidly obese. You're changing it. You're changing the talk from obesity paradox rather than it talking about like the incidents, surviving certain incidents, and changing it into overall health, saying that obese people are therefore healthy. And those two, that's I don't really know how you made that connection there because this is just, I'm sure there's some science around it. I'm not prepared to deep dive into this today. I need to keep this up for next time, and we're gonna just end it here because this I think I've said my piece for this particular one. We're gonna start the next TikTok. I'm sure she'll talk about this again, and I'm gonna have studies like I don't know if I'll have full studies keyed up, but I'll have at least my university library ready to do some fucking research, which I'm not prepared to do tonight. She changed the argument halfway through from the obesity paradox to the BMI. Just because an obese person, let's just take it at face value, an obese person is more likely to survive a heart event and certain surgeries over a healthy weight person. Let's just take that at face value for a second. That does not mean that the obese person is healthy. That doesn't mean that their weight has no impact on any other part of their body. That doesn't mean that their weight doesn't contribute to them experiencing heart events. None of those are tied up in the obesity paradox. It's just talking about in the event of a heart incident or certain surgeries, the obese person would be more likely to survive. That does not mean the obese person is healthy, and that does not mean that the obese person's weight has no impact on their health at all. That was just such a fucking leap and it's kind of a switch from a rant about the obesity paradox to going after the BMI. It was like whiplash for me for a second. But I have to end it here. I'm gonna try to start a rotate. I need to finish the project that I have for next month. So starting in January probably, we'll have a rotation of doing a Jock Scientist video, Starfish, and maintenance phase, and then maybe one other type of video. We're just gonna kind of rotate through those. And I kind of want to finish Starfish a little bit sooner, so maybe we'll do Starfish and then alternate Starfish with one of those other videos. This is interesting. I'm looking forward. She makes a lot of claims. I want to have research available. She's one that I feel like I need research available though, for it. So I'm gonna keep that in mind for next time and key those up. And I'm gonna just kind of end that here for today. A little bit about myself. I am just maintaining my weight, and I've given myself permission to just maintain my weight through November and December because there's candy and food galore. And as long as I'm not gaining weight, I'm going to call that a win because there's so much food that's tempting me right now. I don't like Thanksgiving food, so that's not a big concern for me. But all of the holiday candy shit is coming out that I fucking love. I have Mozart Kugels. Tony's Chocolonely has an advent calendar that I fucking bought. Yes, I bought the Tony Chocolonely advent calendar because it's fucking delicious. I love their chocolate. And then I bought like this chocolate orange that's from France because I went to World Market. There's there's all sorts of fucking candy. There's a hot cocoa advent calendar. I don't even drink hot cocoa that much, but I kind of want it. I'm in so much, and there was this Tony Chocolonely again, the chocolate that I fucking love had a sampler, and I've only ever had the sea salt caramel chocolate bar, which is absolutely fabulous. But then they had this sampler of smaller bars, so I wouldn't have like this big 1,000 calorie chocolate bar in my house of just trying the other flavors. And they had these little tiny bars. So I bought one of those. I've eaten 4 of the 6 bars already. I'm still within my calories, so I'm still doing okay. But I'm still like I'm not, I'm eating more than I normally do, and I want to give myself permission to indulge as long as I don't go overboard. As long as I don't gain 10 pounds or something like that. Don't gain 5 pounds. Like if I can maintain, I'll be happy. I told you guys that I've been taking a sewing class and I've finished sewing my first pair of pajama pants, which I was really excited about. I'm feeling really comfortable with my sewing machine. So now I'm moving on to sewing Pokemon, and I'm so excited for it. I'm also working on crocheting Pokemon and coming up with my own patterns, and so I'm really excited about that. And I've been reading a shit ton of manga on Tabby Toons, so we're going to go over that real quick. So Dungeon Reset has a sale, and I've been enjoying Dungeon Reset is an interesting game-themed manhwa of this guy that essentially glitched out of dying in this game turned in real world sort of thing, and he's been able to kind of exploit the system. It's really fun. it's like a fun romp of a story. The Secret Life of Empress Isana is interesting. There's things with witches and a familiar, and she's apparently the Witch of Pain and gains her power from inflicting pain on others. It's kind of weird, but then she was isekai'd out, like she switched bodies with this woman from our world in Korea, and that woman doesn't want to cause people pain, but she's learning what it's like to have power as a witch, and so we're still kind of figuring that out. Meanwhile, the current it was the crown prince, but now he's the like emperor or the king. I don't remember what what system they have, but he knows that she's a witch, and they had this whole kind of interaction, and now he's like, I'm gonna fucking get you. But then there's also this, like, they don't fully hate each other. It's weird, and I'm interested in it. Call Me the Devil is about these devils with the woman that doesn't seem to fall for their powers at all, and it seems like there's a lot of different devils. So the different devils are categorized by the same devils from the different rings of hell. So you have like Beelzebub and Satan and Lucifer, Leviathan, Mammon, and I think I'm forgetting someone. And oh, Asmodeus. And so we've seen one of each type of devil, and they all like her. And like it's weird because there's this Asmodean devil that has been by her side since they were in high school, apparently, marked her, which was typically a sign that she would have been devoured soon, but it's been nearly a decade or something like that. And he hasn't devoured her, and they're like, what the fuck is going on? I don't entirely understand what's going on. The Lucifer guy's starting to lose his shit a little bit, and is trying to distance himself from her, and she has no fucking clue what's going on, so that's really interesting. I'm in love with my foe. I've only read one chapter of that, so I'm gonna just move on. The skeleton soldier failed to defend the dungeon. So this was interesting. It's like a skeleton soldier from a run-of-the-mill RPG sort of tale who was serving a succubus, and the succubus's lair was raided, and she was killed. And I don't know if it. I think it's supposed to be a man. I thought of it as a woman skeleton for so fucking long, but it's a male skeleton, I think. And he was sent back to when he was first resurrected, and he tried to save the woman that resurrected because he wanted to live like a decent life. It'd be a while before he met his succubus again, who he calls the lady succubus, and he wanted to do better in this life and be strong enough to protect the succubus when their lair was invaded again. He's experienced a few deaths. There was one death that he couldn't like recover from, like she just that died, and at one point he couldn't go back because his return point was transferred to later in his storyline, and so he couldn't go back. And so it's just been this kind of constant putting pieces together, and it seems like there's this bigger conspiracy thing happening that we still don't fully understand yet. It's entertaining. I do like it. I'm the soldier's ex-girlfriend, so I've just gotten to the point where the devil reveals to Maisie, who's again isekai'd from a woman in Korea into her favorite video game, and the knight that she was supposed to end up with is a bit of a playboy, and so she dumped his ass. The devil, I think his name goes by, I think he goes by Eth in this story, and he fell in love with her, was terrified of her finding out. She's found out, not only has she found out that he's the devil, which she did not want to, she ended up marrying him, by the way, before she found this out. So she's married to the devil and she doesn't like it. And then she also find out that he's basically constructed her entire reality. Like he slowly built up this whole false reality around her that's now come crashing down, and she doesn't know what to fucking do. And I don't blame her because it's a little bit of a terrifying thought. Lady Beast is just cute couple bullshit. It's fun though. Necromancer, the Ultimate Scourge, is interesting. It's this like combination of reality and video game where you get your profession for the rest of your life during like this coming of age ceremony at the end of middle school, where you step onto this matrix, and whatever, like the powers that be will show what your profession is, and you can get something like elemental mage or you can be a farmer and you have no fucking control over anything. Like, your academics don't mean shit. But this guy here, got a hidden legendary profession that no one's seen before, and there's only one that can exist in his world at a time, meaning no one can become, and of course it was necromancer, but no one can become a necromancer while he's alive. And no one's seen it before, and so he's just like OP. He's completely overpowered. And people are just like starting to see how much of a badass he is, and I haven't gotten very far in that one. Born as the second daughter is this kind of weird family thing that I'm not entirely sure what to make of yet. I am the max net of Volnubi. This guy's a little bit of a psycho, but I'm kind of here for it. Like, he is the only person to have ever beat this game. This game came into reality. And now, even though he's at like a level 1, he basically has his stats from when he conquered this, what's called the Tower of Trials. But he's trying to stay under the radar, and a bunch of people that think they're badasses. This is part of the entertaining bit. He knows all sorts of lore and bits of information that no one else fucking knows because no one stayed with the game that long. He's the only person to have ever beaten the Tower of Trials, and no one knows it because the next day this came in, it came into reality, and no one like had seen his video apparently. So he knows all bits of information. He knows how to gain all sorts of abilities. And on top of that, his stats are basically that from when he not quite what he was when he finished the game, but like it kind of says max level newbie. Like, he hasn't maxed out his levels, but his levels might as well be maxed out for how overpowered he is. It's kind of entertaining because everyone underestimates him, and then it's like he drops a fucking bomb, so there's a lot of satisfying moments of fuck yeah, bitch, shit just got real. A villainess for the tyrant. Like, the main conflict has ended, and it feels like we're just doing cute couple shit. Ashtart found out that Ashtart was blessed by the gods, and the one that they think is blessed by the gods is actually a homunculus that's going to destroy humanity. So that's really fun to read. I will not return to my family. This woman was the eldest daughter in a house where everyone's known for their special gifts. Encanto. Think Encanto, because it's there's a lot of parallels there. Uh, and she doesn't appear to have any sort of special ability, but what they don't realize is that her special ability is to give good luck to all of those around her. So basically, any business deal that you have is guaranteed to be a success. Any test you have, you're guaranteed to pass while she's around if she's wishing you good luck. But her family are a bunch of fucking assholes and just don't see that she has an ability. And so they treat her like complete and utter shit. They ignore her. They ignore her any important milestones in her life. They ignore her birthday while lavishing the other children, because there's 4 others in her household that they lavish with love and attention on their birthdays and their important events. And so this lesser family that's basically a noble in name only, they've lost all their family fortune, has been kind to her, and they are slowly getting like the benefits while her family is about to kick her out. So that's getting fun to read. The villainous princess won't tolerate a bad ending. So this is another isekai from Korea, except this time both the woman that created the world, who's like pure of heart basically, except she was transferred into the villain's body, but she knows all the lore about the world inside out because she made it. And this woman that exploited her idea and took all the credit for her idea for the game and is working her to the bone as like a shadow developer was also put into the world as the protagonist that everyone loves, while she's the villainess that everyone doesn't like hates. And they're slowly changing stuff, but the girl that was transferred into the protagonist's body thinks that she has everything like in the palm of her hand, and it's fun to see shit like slowly go down. And I could go on, but we're gonna end it there because this has really gone on entirely too long. So I'm gonna end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.